Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be the Combat Series episode number 74 for you guys today. Of course, this episode is going to be coming out on all four of our platforms, our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So let's go ahead and dive into the first segment of the Combat Series this week. I will be sharing my Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight summary. So, in the world of boxing, Friday night, the whole entire world basically tuned into this fight. For this event, Jake Paul defeated Mike Tyson by unanimous decision in a 2-minute, 8-round fight that took place on Netflix Friday night. Now, this was honestly sad to watch the fight. And for the people that came at me all week long on TikTok saying I don't know anything about combat sports, it clearly shows I do. Jake Paul wasn't going to win the fight based off being more skillful than Mike Tyson. He was clearly going to win the fight based off of father time. It was a 31-year age gap between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Jake Paul being 27, Mike Tyson being 58. You can hit a bag all day long on your social media platforms, but when you're in the ring with somebody trying to chase somebody down and you got to fight in different angles, move around the boxing ring, you could tell during the fight Mike Tyson's legs just weren't there. His body, he wanted to move, but his body wouldn't let him. He wanted to do more in that fight, but his body just simply did not allow him to. It was basically a sparring fest. Jake Paul basically landing punches on Mike Tyson to look good himself. It was just sad to see. I mean, Jake Paul is sandbagging all of us. This is what he does. He's not a real fighter. He's an entertainer. And he's fighting these older fighters to make himself look good as a professional boxer. But bottom line is, this was good for both fighters in terms of payday. But in terms of advertising it all year long to be the biggest fight of the year, supposedly, this didn't even live up to any hype. And it was honestly one of, if not the worst fight on the entire main card. I mean, it was sad to see. You had basically Mike Tyson wearing a compressive knee brace out there. I'm glad that he got $20 million out of this. Jake Paul making $40 million himself, but this was not a good look for Jake Paul. And you could tell if he really wanted to get Mike Tyson out of there, he really could have in the early part of the fight, but it just didn't look good. So I have to say that in round one, Mike Tyson, yes, he was aggressive trying to get Jake Paul out of there. In the first 2 minutes, he had Jake Paul running on his high horse, and Jake Paul was moving around and clinching for his life. But as the fight went on, you could tell that Mike Tyson's legs just weren't there anymore. He really couldn't do much, and he was just basically a sitting duck, basically a tree that doesn't move. So it was hard to watch. I mean, Mike Tyson only landed a total of 18 punches this whole entire fight, compared to Jake Paul, who only landed 78 punches in his own right. So this was really sad to see. I honestly, this fight really should have been the opener. Like I just said, if it wasn't the if not the worst fight on the entire card, it should have opened the night. Obviously, Amanda Serrano versus Kaylee Taylor should have been the main event of the entire card. The Mario Barrios fight was pretty decent. I was not expecting him to go the distance with Abel Ramos for the WBC welterweight title. So, I mean, it's just sad that we just watched that on Friday. But I gotta say that Jake Paul is a smart businessman. He's making his money fighting these older fighters that have combat sports backgrounds, whether they're former MMA guys, old boxers. He's making his money, and the way how he's getting the money is he's using his name. I mean, somebody that was a content creator, a social media guy, a YouTube star, and turned the whole entire thing into his world. I mean, he's got most valuable promotions. He's doing his thing, making money. And he's one of the biggest villains on the entire planet today. I mean, how many people really do like Jake Paul? But his marketing skills are good because he knows how to get the people to talk about him. He knows how to get the media to cover him. And he knows how to put on big, gigantic spectacles like he just did in Dallas, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. The gate they made him and Tyson, the gate was around $18 million. That's even more than what Canelo Alvarez had when he fought in Dallas, Texas at the Cowboys Stadium 3 years ago. COVID or no COVID restrictions. And he broke that record for non-football gates at Dallas, Texas at the Cowboys Stadium. So they got a lot to be proud of for this. And also, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix had a total of 60 million viewers worldwide on Netflix. That's pretty huge. That's pretty remarkable. For everybody, and I gotta say that was actually pretty smart, because you had everybody tune in to watch you all around the world without paying a price, as long as you had a Netflix subscription. Yes, it did buffer out a lot of people around the world had a lot of issues, but I gotta say that's really smart by Jake Paul for what he did. So what's next for Jake Paul? Now, I know Jake Paul is not going to be willing to fight actual boxers. It's actually funny that undisputed light heavyweight champion Arthur Beterbiev actually called him out for a fight. We know Jake Paul's not going to take that, but Jake Paul is just an entertainer, guys. He labelizes himself as a pro boxer, but he's not going to take any more risk. He lost it when he fought somebody his age range and a decent fighter. He lost to Tommy Fury, and I don't see him calling him out for a rematch. So he's going to continue to do this, sandbag the sport, call out older fighters, get his bag. This is a hot take, but I would actually like to see Jake Paul fight an old retired fighter, someone that's not in their 50s, early 40s. I would like to see him fight Andre Ward. And Andre Ward kind of hinted at that at the end of the Netflix broadcast, saying that he would like that Jake Paul needs to fight somebody that's not as old as Mike Tyson. He didn't say retired or current. But I think that would be an interesting fight to see Andre Ward back in the ring against Jake Paul. Andre Ward wouldn't knock him out, but he would give him a really solid boxing lesson to once again hush Jake Paul. I think that's a really hot take. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's something I would like to see. But we'll see what's next for Jake Paul. Now, what's next for Mike Tyson? Obviously, it should be retirement. But I got to say, Mike Tyson does deserve his flowers and his credit for at least attempting to go out there and put on a show. Being 58 years of age, obviously Father Time has caught up to Iron Mike, but being 58, getting yourself in the type of shape that he did, willing to go out there for 8 2-minute rounds, he deserves my respect. I mean, he really had nothing to prove. And yes, that loss is now on his professional boxing record, which I still don't understand why that was an exhibition instead of a pro fight, but it's on his record permanently. But that's not going to touch his legacy. Mike Tyson's already an icon, a Hall of Famer, former undisputed heavyweight champion. His resume is untouchable. But I do believe that it wasn't the same Mike Tyson that we saw out in that ring 4 years ago, when we saw him moving pretty well at the age at the time, at 54 years of age, when he had an exhibition against Roy Jones. That fighter is not here anymore. He can't move around anymore like that. So he was pretty stubborn, and when they were asking him interviews after the fight in the ring that he would like to fight Logan Paul, I don't want to see that. I just want to see Mike Tyson enjoy his last final big payday in the sport. $20 million at 58, you can't beat that. So I think it should just go off to the sunset and enjoy the sport. Hell, if he wants to stay in the boxing gym, he can still continue to spread his knowledge to the youth. A lot of young boxers in the game today. He can also possibly be a boxing trainer. But in terms of getting in the ring, Mike Tyson just hanging up your 58. And I think that's the way he should do it for the rest of his life. But that is my Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight summary.